Good morning. We will start with the second session on chapter force and pressure. In our previous class, we understood what is a force. So, anything which is a push or a pull is called as a force. The definition of a force is a push or a pull is of any object is called as a force. We also understood the different effects of force, how force leads to the change in shape, size and direction of the object, and how force can bring about both motion as well as rest to an object, how magnitude of force is so important that depends upon or that actually tells us what is the direction of the force. Magnitude is nothing but a number or a measure. So we understood about these effects of force, right? Apart from that, we also understood the two types of force where the forces get added up or the forces get subtracted. That means when the forces get added up, it is called as an unbalanced force. So the force is getting exerted on only one direction so that the object is displaced from one place to another. We term that as an unbalanced force. And if the force is being exerted from both the direction, from this direction as well as the opposite direction, that means the forces are getting subtracted, that is balanced force. So in unbalanced force, unequal forces are acting on an object on the same direction, and in balanced forces, equal forces are acting on an object from the opposite direction. Yes? So that was about yesterday's class. So in today's class, we will understand what are the different types of forces. There are basically two types of forces, how we understand them, that is contact force and non-contact force. So in yesterday's class, briefly I told you about a contact force and a non-contact force. That means contact force means when something is in contact with each other, it is a contact force. Now non-contact force means force is there, force is exerted, but the contact need not be. So when it is not in contact, so that time we term it as a non-contact forces. Let us look at the definition. Contact force, the force applied when two or more objects come in contact with each other, right? Suppose if I have to lift the pen or hold the pen or throw something or catch something, that means the force what I have to exert it on the object or by me has to be in contact with each other, right? Non-contact forces, the force applied when objects do not come in contact with each other but yet exert a force upon each other. They need not be in contact with each other, but they do exert a force upon each other. We will first understand what are contact forces and then we will move to the non-contact forces. So what are the examples or what are the types of contact forces? So the first is muscular force, frictional force and air resistance force. Now, muscular force. So when I talk about muscular force, the name itself will suggest me something which is done with my muscles, right? So we'll read the definition, not exactly the definition. You can tell the meaning of a muscular force. Force that comes into play because of the action of muscles is called muscular force. The force that comes into play because of the action of muscles is called as muscular force. Same thing, if I have to do any work, now I have to walk, I have to run, all the activities what I do requires muscular force. All activities done by me. Now animals move from one place to another. That means muscular force is required, right? So that is what externally what we could see. Now activities doing, holding, catching, everything comes under muscular force, right? Suppose you throw a ball, a quite big ball, and I am not able to catch a ball. That means I need to stronger my muscular force. A small baby will not be able to catch a ball. That's not because he doesn't have a muscular force. They need to strengthen their muscular force, right? So muscular force, that means in contact. Now, some other examples of muscular force, what I can tell here is the food what we eat goes to a food pipe. In class 7th you had about digestion. So what happens actually there? The food enters our food pipe. Food pipe is also called as a esophagus. So when the food is entering through the esophagus, it is due to the muscular force only the food can pass through the food pipe and goes to the stomach, then small intestine, then further process, right? So there also our esophagus are lined with some muscles that makes easy contraction and relaxation so that the food gets passed very easily. That is one example of the muscular force I can tell you. So this is about the muscular force. Then next we'll move on to the frictional force. I'll write the meaning of the frictional force. The force which opposes the motion of any object is called frictional force. That means the force which is opposing the motion of an object, or I can tell frictional force always acts on the opposite direction of the motion of the object. Such a type of force is called as a frictional force. Now let's go back to our yesterday's example. Now what we told, I just roll a ball on the ground. So with what magnitude of force I throw the ball moves up to that distance and it stops at a particular point, right? Okay, let me take two instances. I have a ice flooring and another I have a mud flooring, right? Now I roll the ball under both the condition with same magnitude of force, right? That means on the ice flooring as well as on the mud flooring, the ball had to go to the particular distance and stop, right? You got my point? I am applying equal magnitude of force on both the ball and rolling the ball on the ice floor as well as on the mud floor. But what do we see there? The ball on the mud floor stops before the ball which is still rolling on the ice floor. That means what do you come to a conclusion here? Ice floor has less friction than the mud floor, right? About friction, what exactly is the friction, how it acts on an object, what are the advantages, disadvantages. You have a separate chapter in physics, that is the next chapter in physics, where we learn only about friction, okay? So here we will only understand what is a frictional force. The force which opposes the motion of any object is called as a frictional force. Now, we applied brakes and the vehicle stops. That means frictional force. Now, if you have seen athlete what shoes he wears, or if you are a good runner, sportsman, what happens? Your soles worn out very easily, right? Or if you are walking or you walk every day for a very long distance, that means your sole of your shoes worns out very quickly. That is all because of friction. Now, if you have seen, when you buy a new tire for your vehicle, right? Have you seen a new tire? So, when you buy a tire, so that tire has so many treads, right? Like this, a small pointed like things. Have you seen? Right? Not sharp one, but a soft one, but those have treads. That means that will give you a good grip on the road, right? So if all the treads are worn out, there are chances of slipping. That is because of again frictional force, right? So frictional force, frictional force always acts on the opposite direction of the motion of a body. So here in this chapter, under contact forces, we will only know about frictional force because that comes in the contact force only, right? About friction, we will study in depth about that in your next physics chapter. Now, the next force what we study in contact force is air resistance. That means, what do you mean by a air resistance force? So, whenever an object moves or flies in the sky, right, that means it offers a type of a force that is nothing but a air resistance force, right? So, we understand very brief about the air resistance force here. So, what is air resistance force? Whenever any object flies or moves in the sky that offers a type of a force, that force is known as air resistant force. Now again about this you will again have a detail in the next chapter. Now, how should be the motion, or how should be the object? It should have a streamlined body. You will again study about this in the next chapter when we exactly study about friction. So, usually that is how aeroplanes can fly in the sky very easily. Their body also it has a streamlined body. Now, we say fishes have a streamlined body, that is why it can move in the water very easily, right? So, about that we'll again study in this same chapter in the next chapter of your physics chapter here. So, here let us only understand whenever an object moves or flies in the sky, it experiences a type of a force which is called as a air resistance force. So, these are the three contact forces. So, where an object has to be in contact with each other for the force to experience, right? Now we'll move on to the next one, that is non-contact forces, where objects do not come in contact with each other but yet it exerts force upon each other. So let us see what are non-contact forces. Now let us look at these three different types of non-contact forces. So we'll just repeat once again. What are non-contact force? The force applied when objects do not come in contact with each other but yet exert a force upon each other. Though they are not in contact but they are exerting force. So those forces are known as non-contact forces, which are those magnetic force, electrostatic force and gravitational force. Now what is a magnetic force? Now we all know what is a magnet, right? You have seen different types of magnet either in your school laboratories or either at your home or anywhere else. So we have come across bar magnet, then a cubical one, a spherical one, a different shapes of magnet. You even sometimes play with magnet. So what do you see here? Two different magnets, when they are placed at two different positions, those magnetic force, there is a force between, some force is acting that comes in contact with each other, right? Though it is far away, but still the forces or the magnetic field what we talk about here, that is acting on them. We have all seen that when you keep the like poles together, they repel, that is north, north or south, south. Now identification of the poles, why they repel, why they do not, we are not discussing here. We only understand what is a magnetic force, and when we place the unlike poles, they attract. Yes? So it is the force exerted by any magnetic object is called magnetic force. So if you have a magnet and if you have some magnetic objects, now what are magnetic objects? Objects made up of iron, nickel, cobalt, all these are magnetic objects. So if you have a magnet and a safety pin, right, in your hand, so what does it do? Even if they are at a particular distance, they attract, right? What will attract? Magnet is in that position only. The pin will attract the magnet. Now suppose if I keep a magnet here and a pin to this position or this distance, will it attract? No, because there is something called as a magnetic field. It can only attract in its magnetic field. The strength what you can tell, right? So wherever till what area the magnetic strength is present, in that area it attracts. Not that if a magnet is placed somewhere here and the pin is somewhere here, there is no force exerted on them, right? It has to be in its limit. It has to be in its magnetic field area. Only then there will be a attraction due to magnetic force attraction, what we call. The force exerted by any magnetic object is called magnetic force. So, what are the applications of magnetic force? Now, if I talk about have you all seen metro train? Right? Have you seen when the metro train arrives or it is about to leave or it is already left? So we see that the train do not touch the track, but still it moves. It is in motion. That is only because of magnetic force. there are many certain small experiments conducted where you can just elevate a pencil without any support, right? So it is called as a magnetic elevation. So assume that there is some magnets kept here. I can just elevate a pencil in this manner. That means there is a magnetic force of attraction where the pencil is being elevated. It is called as a magnetic elevation. So roller coaster rides, so metros, all these will have a magnetic force of attraction, which the application of magnetic force is used in that. Even electromagnets are used in industries to lift heavy objects. For example, so when a crane kind of a thing will come to lift a heavy object which has a magnet in it. So what happens there is, so it has to lift some heavy object. It is made up of metal, right? Magnetic materials. So that will just attract that object so that it can lift easily and put it at a particular place. So there are many applications of magnetic force, right? So we'll move on to the next one, electrostatic force. The force exerted by a charged particle is called electrostatic force. You will study about electrostatic force later, but here we only understand about what force is this. Now the best example if I have to give you to make you understand electrostatic force is, we all have done this in our younger age, right? What we have done, we have taken a comb, we just comb it, and if there are bits of paper lying on a table, we just take the comb, we just hold it near to the paper, not very far, not touching the paper. What will happen? The paper will get attracted to the comb or stick to the comb. Even if not that, if you take a scale and rub it on your hair for some time, or rub it with a particular cloth for some time, and just take that scale near the paper, what will happen? The papers will attract. You all can try this. These all things we have done. So that is nothing but electrostatic force. We did not know that was an electrostatic force, but we have all done that. So here in electrostatic force also you have like and unlike charges. We again study about this in your further chapters in physics in standard 8th only. So here let us only understand under a non-contact force, the force exerted by a charged particle is called a electrostatic force, right? And the last one, gravitational force. It is an attractive force that is applied by the earth on all the objects. So that means if I am dropping this pen is falling on the ground, right? The pen is not floating anywhere. Immediately the pen falls down. If I throw any object on top, the object has to come down. Why it has to come down? Why it can't go up? Only because of the gravitational force which is acting. Now can we see this force? No. But is this force in contact with the objects? No. But still the force is acting. Force is exerting upon the object. That means it is a non-contact forces. We are standing firmly on the earth. That is because of gravitational force. All planets revolve around the sun. Gravitational force. Earth revolves around the sun. Of course, Earth will come under planet only. Gravitational force. So these all are held or all are binded together in gravitational force. What would happen if there was no gravity? All the planets would just come and collapse, right? It's again an abstract thing to imagine or hypothetical thing to understand. But that is a gravitational force which is binding the objects. It is an attractive force that is applied by the earth on all the objects. So these are contact and non-contact forces. So contact forces we understood which all things? Muscular force, frictional force and air resistance force, right? Under non-contact we discussed magnetic force, electrostatic force and gravitational force. So in our next session we'll discuss about pressure. What is pressure? How are the pressure exerted in terms of liquids, solids and gases? We'll understand them in detail. So in today's class, if you have any doubts, you can call on the same day of the video set. Thank you.